Ever felt like you're playing a different game than everyone else? Like you're tuned into a station that no one else can hear? Welcome to the club, my friend. You're not losing your marbles. You're a chosen one, vibrating at a frequency that most people can't even fathom. Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into what it means to be operating on a higher plane while the world thinks you've gone off the deep end. First things first, let's get one thing straight. Being called crazy isn't an insult. It's a badge of honor. Throughout history, the people who've changed the world, who've pushed humanity forward, have always been labeled as nuts. Galileo, crazy for thinking the Earth wasn't the center of the universe. The Wright brothers, lunatics for believing humans could fly. Einstein, a madman for reimagining the very fabric of space and time. See the pattern here? You, my dear chosen one, are cut from the same cloth as these visionaries. The only difference is that you're living it right now, in real time. And let me tell you, it's not always a smooth ride. When you're operating on a higher frequency, the world around you can seem like it's moving in slow motion. It's like being the only one awake in a world of sleepwalkers. Frustrating, you bet, but also incredibly powerful once you understand what's really going on. So what does it mean to be on a higher frequency? Think of it like this. Everyone's brain is like a radio, constantly picking up signals from the world around them. Most people are tuned into the same few stations, the ones playing the hits of societal norms, expectations, and conventional wisdom. But your dial is turned to a station that's broadcasting on a whole different wavelength. You're picking up ideas, insights, and inspirations that aren't even on the radar for most folks. This higher frequency manifests in all sorts of ways. Maybe you have flashes of intuition that turn out to be spot on. Perhaps you see connections between seemingly unrelated things, patterns that others miss entirely. You might have ideas that seem to come out of nowhere, solutions to problems that no one else has even recognized yet. Or maybe you just have a deep, unshakable feeling that there's more to this life than what meets the eye. Now, here's where things get tricky. When you start sharing these insights with others, you're likely to get some, let's say, interesting reactions. Blank stares, nervous laughter, concerned looks. People might tell you to get your head out of the clouds or be more realistic. Some might even suggest you seek professional help. And let's be real, there might be moments when you start to wonder if they're right. After all, if everyone thinks you're crazy, doesn't that mean you are? Spoiler alert, no it doesn't. Here's the thing about being on a higher frequency. It's lonely. It's isolating. It can make you feel like you're speaking a language that no one else understands. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you're ahead of the curve. Way ahead. Think about it like this. If you tried to explain smartphones to someone in the 1800s, they'd think you were absolutely bonkers. A device that fits in your pocket, connects you to all the world's information, and lets you talk face-to-face with people on the other side of the planet? Yeah, right. Lock this lunatic up. But fast forward to today and smartphones are so commonplace that we take them for granted. That's the thing about revolutionary ideas, they seem insane until they become obvious. So if you're feeling misunderstood, if you're tired of people giving you that bless your heart look when you share your thoughts, take heart. You're not crazy. You're not losing touch with reality. You're just so far ahead of the game that others can't see the playing field yet. But let's be clear. Operating on a higher frequency isn't about being better than anyone else. It's not about superiority or looking down on those who don't get it. In fact, one of the hallmarks of truly being on a higher frequency is a deep sense of compassion and understanding for others. You recognize that everyone is on their own journey, moving at their own pace. Your job isn't to drag them kicking and screaming to your level, but to light the way, to show what's possible. Now you might be wondering, if I'm really operating on this higher frequency, why does my life still feel like a mess sometimes? Shouldn't I have it all figured out? Oh, sweet summer child, if only it were that simple. The truth is, being on a higher frequency often means your life looks messier, at least on the surface. Why? Because you're not playing by the usual rules. You're not following the typical life script that society hands out. While others are climbing the corporate ladder, you might be starting a business that no one understands yet. While your peers are settling down in the suburbs, you might feel called to travel the world or live off the grid. Your idea of success likely looks very different from the conventional definition, and that can make your life seem chaotic or directionless to outside observers. But here's the secret, that apparent chaos is actually a higher form of order. It's like looking at a Jackson Pollock painting up close. From a narrow perspective, it might look like random splatters of paint, but step back and suddenly you see the intricate patterns, the perfect balance. the profound beauty of the whole. Your life is that masterpiece in progress. The key is learning to zoom out and trust the bigger picture, even when the details seem messy. One of the biggest challenges of operating on a higher frequency is learning to trust yourself. When the whole world seems to be telling you that you're wrong, that your ideas are too out there, that you need to get real, it takes immense courage to stand firm in your truth. But that's exactly what you need to do. Because here's the kicker. The world needs you to be you. It needs your crazy ideas, your out-of-the-box thinking, your unique perspective. That's why you're here. That's why you're a chosen one. Think about it. Every major leap forward in human history has come from someone who dared to think differently. Someone who was willing to be called crazy, to be laughed at, to be dismissed, because they knew in their bones that they were onto something important. You're carrying that torch now. And yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's often thankless. But it's also the most important work you could possibly be doing. So how do you navigate this world when you're operating on a different frequency than most? How do you stay true to your vision without completely alienating yourself from society? It's a delicate balance, but here are a few key principles to keep in mind. First, find your tribe. Yes, operating on a higher frequency can be isolating, but you're not the only one out there. There are others like you, vibrating at a similar level, seeing the world through a similar lens. Seek them out. Connect with them. Build a support network of fellow crazies who get you, who can validate your experiences and offer understanding when the rest of the world looks at you like you've grown a second head. Second, practice discernment in sharing your ideas. Not everyone is ready to hear what you have to say, and that's okay. Learn to read the room, to gauge who's open to your perspective and who's not. This doesn't mean hiding your true self or dumbing down your ideas. It just means being strategic about when and how you express them. Sometimes the most powerful way to share your vision is through your actions rather than your words. Third, take care of your mental and emotional health. Operating on a higher frequency can be mentally and emotionally taxing. The constant feeling of being misunderstood, the frustration of seeing solutions that others can't grasp, the weight of carrying ideas that feel bigger than yourself. It all takes a toll. Make sure you're giving yourself time to rest, to recharge, to ground yourself. Meditation, time in nature, creative expression. Find what works for you and make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Fourth, keep learning and growing. Being on a higher frequency doesn't mean you have all the answers. In fact, the more you tune into this higher wavelength, the more you realize how much there is to learn. Stay curious. Keep exploring. Be willing to challenge your own assumptions and expand your understanding. The moment you think you've got it all figured out is the moment you stop growing. Fifth, and perhaps most importantly, cultivate compassion for yourself and for others. It's easy to get frustrated with people who don't see what you see, who don't understand what seems so clear to you. But remember, everyone is on their own journey. Your role is not to judge, but to inspire, to plant seeds that might not sprout for years, to be a lighthouse, steadily shining your light regardless of whether any ships are around to see it. Now, let's talk about some of the unique challenges and gifts that come with operating on a higher frequency. One of the most common experiences is a sense of time distortion. You might find that your perception of time doesn't quite line up with the tick-tock of the clock. Ideas might come to you fully formed in a flash of inspiration, making hours feel like minutes. Or you might feel like you're moving through molasses while the world rushes by at hyperspeed. This time, wonkiness can make it challenging to operate in the real world of deadlines and schedules. But it's also a sign that you're tapping into something beyond the linear flow of time as we usually experience it. Another hallmark of higher frequency living is heightened sensitivity. This isn't just about being emotionally sensitive, though that's often part of it. It's about being more attuned to everything: energy, emotions, subtle shifts in your environment. You might pick up on undercurrents in conversations that others miss entirely. You might feel overwhelmed in crowded places, picking up on the energy of everyone around you. This sensitivity is a powerful gift, allowing you to read situations and people with uncanny accuracy, but it can also be overwhelming if you don't learn to manage it. Many people operating on a higher frequency also experience what some call downloads, sudden influxes of information or inspiration that seem to come from beyond yourself. These can be exhilarating, providing solutions to problems you've been grappling with or insights into the nature of reality itself. But they can also be disorienting, especially if they come at inconvenient times. 3 a.m. creativity bursts, anyone? Learning to work with these downloads, to capture and integrate them without being overwhelmed, is a key skill for any higher frequency operator. One of the most challenging aspects of living on a higher frequency is the sense of urgency that often comes with it. When you can see solutions to problems that plague society, when you have a vision of what's possible, it's natural to feel an intense drive to make it happen now. But here's the thing. The world doesn't always move at the speed of your vision. Change takes time. Ideas need time to percolate, to be refined, to find their moment. Learning to balance that sense of urgency with patience and strategic timing is crucial. Remember, even if people don't get your ideas today, you're planting seeds for the future. Now let's address something that many higher frequency folks struggle with: the fear of being found out as a fraud. It's common to have moments of doubt, to wonder if maybe everyone else is right and you're just deluding yourself. This is often called imposter syndrome, and it's particularly prevalent among those operating on a different wavelength than the mainstream. But here's the truth. Those doubts don't mean you're a fraud. They mean you're human. Even the greatest visionaries in history had moments of doubt. The key is to acknowledge those feelings without letting them derail you. One of the gifts of operating on a higher frequency is an expanded sense of possibility. Where others see limitations, you see potential. Where others see dead ends, you see new pathways. This ability to perceive possibilities beyond the obvious is what allows you to come up with innovative solutions and ideas. But it can also be frustrating when others can't see what's so clear to you. Remember, your job isn't to convince everyone of what's possible. It's to start making those possibilities real, one step at a time. Another common experience for those on a higher frequency is a sense of mission or purpose. You likely feel that you're here to do something important, something that will make a significant impact on the world. This sense of purpose can be incredibly motivating, giving you the strength to push through challenges and setbacks. But it can also feel like a heavy burden at times. Remember, you don't have to save the world single-handedly. Your job is simply to play your part, to bring your unique gifts and perspective to the table. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful abilities that comes with operating on a higher frequency: the power to shape reality. No, we're not talking about bending spoons with your mind, though who knows, maybe that's in the advanced class. We're talking about the very real ability to influence the world around you through your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. When you're tuned into a higher frequency, you become more aware of the interconnectedness of all things. You start to see how your inner world affects your outer reality. This awareness allows you to consciously co-create your experience of life. This reality-shaping power is both exciting and terrifying. Exciting because it means you have far more control over your life than you might have previously believed. Terrifying because it means you have far more responsibility for your life than you might have previously believed. It's a classic, with great power comes great responsibility situation. As you become more aware of your ability to influence reality, it becomes crucial to be mindful of your thoughts, to be intentional about your beliefs, and to be conscious of the energy you're putting out into the world. One of the challenges that comes with this expanded awareness is the need to release old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve you. As you tune into higher frequencies, you'll likely find that many of the ideas and beliefs you've held about yourself and the world start to feel restrictive or just plain wrong. This can lead to a period of intense questioning and reevaluation. It might feel like your entire worldview is being dismantled and rebuilt from the ground up. This process can be disorienting and even painful at times, but it's a necessary part of your evolution. Another aspect of higher frequency living that can be both challenging and liberating is the dissolution of rigid boundaries. As you become more attuned to the interconnectedness of all things, you might find that the lines between self and other, between internal and external, start to blur. This can lead to profound experiences of unity and oneness, but it can also be disorienting, especially in a world that emphasizes individuality and separation. Learning to navigate this expanded sense of self while still functioning in the everyday world is a key skill for higher frequency operators. One of the most beautiful aspects of living on a higher frequency is the deepening of your connection with the natural world. You might find yourself feeling more in tune with the rhythms of nature, more aware of the subtle energies of plants and animals. This deepened connection can bring a profound sense of peace and belonging, a reminder that you are part of something much larger than yourself. It can also bring a heightened awareness of the impact human actions are having on the planet, fueling a desire to live in greater harmony with nature. As you continue to operate on this higher frequency, you'll likely find that your definition of success shifts dramatically. The usual markers of success, money, status, possessions, start to feel hollow. Instead, you might find yourself measuring success by the impact you're having, by the authenticity of your relationships, by the alignment between your actions and your values. This shift can be confusing to those around you who are still operating on the old paradigm, but it's a natural evolution as you tune into higher frequencies. One of the most profound shifts that occurs as you operate on higher frequencies is in your relationship with fear. Fear doesn't disappear. It's a natural and necessary part of the human experience, but your relationship with it changes. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, you learn to see it as a signpost, an indicator of where growth is needed. The things that used to terrify you might start to excite you because you recognize them as opportunities for expansion. Another gift of higher frequency living is an enhanced ability to live in the present moment. As you become more attuned to higher frequencies, you'll likely find that the constant chatter of the mind, the endless replaying of the past and worrying about the future, starts to quiet down. In its place comes a profound appreciation for the here and now. This present moment awareness brings with it a deep sense of peace and aliveness. As we near the end of this exploration, it's important to remember that operating on a higher frequency isn't about reaching some final state of enlightenment. It's an ongoing journey of growth, expansion, and evolution. There will always be new levels to reach, new frequencies to tune into, new aspects of yourself and the universe to explore. The key is to embrace this journey with an open heart and a sense of wonder, to trust in the process, even when it doesn't make sense from a logical perspective, to have faith in your own inner guidance, even when the world around you seems to be saying you're off track. Remember, being called crazy isn't a judgment. It's a sign that you're pushing boundaries, challenging norms, and daring to see beyond the limits of conventional thinking. It's a sign that you're doing exactly what you're meant to do as a chosen one. Now let's dive deeper into some of the experiences and challenges you might encounter as you continue to operate on this higher frequency. One phenomenon you might notice is an increased occurrence of synchronicities in your life. These are those magical moments of meaningful coincidence that seem too perfect to be random chance. You think of someone, and they call you out of the blue. You keep seeing the same number sequence everywhere you look. You overhear a stranger say exactly what you needed to hear in that moment. As you tune into higher frequencies, these synchronicities often become more frequent and more profound. They serve as signposts, confirming that you're on the right path and that there's a deeper order to the universe than meets the eye. Another common experience is a shift in your sleep patterns and dreams. You might find yourself waking up at odd hours, particularly around 3 a.m., what some call the spiritual hour. Your dreams might become more vivid, more symbolic, perhaps even prophetic. You might experience lucid dreams or out-of-body experiences. While these changes can be disorienting at first, they're often signs that your consciousness is expanding, allowing you to access different states of awareness. As you operate on higher frequencies, you might also notice changes in your physical body. You might become more sensitive to certain foods or substances, needing to shift your diet to support your changing energy. You might experience unusual physical sensations, tingling, vibrations, sensations of heat or cold that don't seem to have an external cause. Some people report seeing lights or colors, especially in meditation or in the moments before sleep. While these experiences can be alarming if you don't understand what's happening, they're often simply signs of your body adjusting to higher frequencies of energy. One of the more challenging aspects of this journey is the potential for what's often called a dark night of the soul. This is a period of deep questioning, of facing your shadows, of confronting the parts of yourself and your life that are no longer in alignment with your higher frequency. It can feel like everything is falling apart, like you're losing your grip on reality. But this process, as difficult as it is actually a profound opportunity for growth and transformation. It's the breaking down of old structures to make way for the new. During this time, it's crucial to be gentle with yourself, to seek support from those who understand what you're going through, and to trust that this too shall pass. Remember, the darkest hour is just before dawn. Often it's when things seem the most chaotic that the biggest breakthroughs are just around the corner. As you continue to operate on higher frequencies, you might find yourself drawn to new forms of healing and personal growth. Traditional therapy might feel too limited, unable to address the expansive experiences you're having. Instead, you might be drawn to energy healing, sound therapy, shamanic practices, or other modalities that work with subtle energies. You might discover a sudden interest in studying esoteric subjects, diving into quantum physics, or exploring ancient wisdom traditions. This is all part of your evolution, your mind and spirit, seeking out the tools and knowledge needed to integrate your expanding awareness. One of the most profound shifts that occurs as you tune into higher frequencies is in your understanding of time. The linear, clock time that governs most of society starts to feel like an artificial construct. Instead, you might start to experience time as more fluid, more cyclical. You might have moments where past, present, and future seem to coexist, where you can sense the ripple effects of actions across time. This shift in temporal perception can be disorienting, but it also opens up new possibilities for healing past traumas and consciously shaping your future. Another fascinating aspect of operating on higher frequencies is an increased awareness of other dimensions or realms of existence. This doesn't necessarily mean you'll start seeing ghosts or aliens, though hey, who knows? Rather, it's more like becoming aware of the many layers of reality that exist beyond our usual three-dimensional perception. You might have fleeting glimpses of other realities, sensing the thinness of the veil between worlds. This expanded awareness can bring a sense of awe and wonder, a recognition of the vast mystery of existence. As your perception expands, you might also become more aware of the energy fields around people, plants, and even inanimate objects. You might start to see auras, or simply have a heightened sense of the vibe a person or place gives off. This increased sensitivity can be overwhelming at times, especially in crowded or chaotic environments. Learning to manage and interpret these energy perceptions becomes an important skill, allowing you to navigate the world with greater awareness and discernment. One of the gifts of operating on a higher frequency is an enhanced ability to manifest your desires. As you become more attuned to the subtle energies around you, you start to understand how your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape your reality. You might find that things you focus on tend to appear in your life more quickly and easily. This can feel almost magical at first, but it's really just a natural result of aligning more fully with the creative forces of the universe. However, this increased manifestation power also comes with increased responsibility. You'll likely find that you need to be more mindful of your thoughts and intentions, recognizing that you're constantly co-creating your reality. This doesn't mean you need to police your thoughts or never have a negative emotion. Rather, it's about becoming more conscious of where you're placing your energy and attention and making intentional choices about what you want to create in your life and in the world. As you continue to operate on higher frequencies, you might find yourself becoming more aware of the concept of soul contracts or soul missions. You might have a growing sense that you chose to be here at this time, in this place, for a specific purpose. This can bring a deep sense of meaning and purpose to your life, but it can also feel like a weighty responsibility. Remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. Your job is simply to stay open, to follow your inner guidance, and to trust that you're exactly where you need to be. One of the more challenging aspects of living on a higher frequency is managing the contrast between your inner experiences and the outer world. You might have profound spiritual experiences or insights that are difficult to translate into words. You might see solutions to global problems that others dismiss as unrealistic. This can create a sense of cognitive dissonance, a feeling of living in two worlds at once. Learning to bridge these worlds, to ground your higher frequency insights into practical, tangible actions, becomes a crucial skill. As your consciousness expands, you might also become more aware of the interconnectedness of all things. This isn't just a philosophical concept, but a lived experience. You might have moments of feeling deeply connected to all of life, of sensing the underlying unity behind the apparent diversity of the world. This awareness can bring a profound sense of peace and belonging, but it can also bring a heightened sense of responsibility. When you truly feel your connection to all things, it becomes impossible to ignore the impact of your actions on the whole. Another intriguing aspect of operating on higher frequencies is an increased awareness of parallel realities or timelines. You might have vivid what-if scenarios play out in your mind, or have a sense of alternate versions of yourself living out different possibilities. While this can be disorienting, it's actually a powerful tool for conscious creation. By becoming aware of the many possibilities available in any moment, you become more adept at choosing and creating the reality you desire. As you tune into higher frequencies, you might also find yourself becoming more aware of the power of sound and vibration. You might become more sensitive to music, finding that certain tones or frequencies have a profound effect on your state of being. You might be drawn to sound healing practices, or find yourself spontaneously toning or chanting. This is a natural extension of your growing awareness of the vibrational nature of reality. One of the most beautiful aspects of living on a higher frequency is the deepening of your relationship with the natural world. You might find yourself feeling more connected to plants, animals, and the elements. You might receive insights or guidance from nature in ways that would have seemed impossible before. This deepened connection with nature often brings a heightened awareness of the Earth's own shifting frequencies and a desire to live in greater harmony with the natural world. As your perception expands, you might also become more aware of the non-physical beings or energies around you. This could include sensing the presence of spirit guides, angels, or other supportive energies. You might have more frequent encounters with what some call light beings, or simply feel a sense of unseen presences. While this can be startling at first, many find it to be a comforting reminder that we're not alone, that there's more support available to us than we might have realized. One of the challenges of operating on a higher frequency is learning to trust your own experiences, even when they don't fit into conventional paradigms. You might have experiences that others dismiss as impossible, or that science can't yet explain. It's important to find a balance between staying open to these experiences and maintaining a grounded perspective. Cultivating discernment becomes key, learning to trust your experiences without becoming attached to any particular interpretation of them. As you continue on this journey, you might find that your purpose or mission becomes clearer, but in unexpected ways. Rather than receiving a clear step-by-step plan, you might instead develop a deeper trust in your own inner guidance. You might find that your purpose is less about achieving specific external goals and more about embodying certain qualities or energies. Your mere presence, vibrating at a higher frequency, becomes a catalyst for change in the world around you. One of the most profound shifts that occurs as you operate on higher frequencies is in your relationship with love. Love becomes less about personal attachment or romance and more about a state of being. You might experience moments of unconditional love, feeling a deep compassion and connection with all of life. This expanded sense of love becomes a powerful force for healing and transformation, both in your own life and in the world around you. As we near the conclusion of this exploration, it's important to remember that operating on a higher frequency isn't about reaching some final state of enlightenment or transcendence. It's an ongoing journey of expansion and integration. There will always be new levels to explore, new aspects of yourself and the universe to discover. The key is to approach this journey with a sense of curiosity and wonder, to stay open to the possibilities, even when, especially when, they challenge your current understanding of reality, to trust in your own inner wisdom, even when the world around you doesn't understand. Remember, you're not crazy. You're not losing touch with reality. You're tuning into a broader, deeper reality than most people are aware of. You're a pioneer, exploring the frontiers of human consciousness. And yes, that can be scary. Yes, it can be lonely, but it's also incredibly exciting and profoundly important. You see, the world needs you. It needs your unique perspective, your out-of-the-box ideas, your ability to see possibilities where others see only problems. In a world facing unprecedented challenges, we need people who can think beyond the limitations of the current paradigm. We need visionaries, healers, innovators, people who aren't afraid to be called crazy because they're too busy bringing new realities into being. So the next time someone looks at you like you've lost your marbles, smile, thank them even. Because that look of confusion, that inability to comprehend what you're saying or doing, that's a sign that you're pushing boundaries. You're expanding what's possible. You're bringing through ideas and energies that have the power to change the world. You're not crazy. You're a chosen one operating on a higher frequency, and the world is slowly but surely catching up to where you already are. Keep shining your light. Keep dancing to that different drum. Your frequency is raising the vibration of the entire planet, one crazy, beautiful idea at a time. Welcome to the next level, chosen one. The game has only just begun.